Hey everybody, welcome to episode 71 of the All JuveCast, and we got a seasoned vet here, and this one could go either way today, this episode, because we've been on opposite sides for the first time in a long time, so we'll see what happens here. Daniel, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. I'm enjoying all this turmoil now. As
Yeah,
an Italian,
well,
you like to go back and forth. I thought I had a nice vacation. It was smooth sailing. I was cool, calm, collected.
no, man.
Getting on the Ronaldo fans, and then now all of a sudden we're at each other's throats again.
It happens, man. It happens, but that's what it's all about, man. People's opinions, and everyone's got to remember too. There is no right or wrong. It's what you feel personally, and I feel one way, you feel another. We're gonna let it out. We're gonna discuss it, and we'll see how she goes. But Bayer Juve here. So this is one thing right off the bat. You had a lot of fans feeling this is meaningless match. Play your B lineup, nobody cares, nothing. I actually put a post out there that I don't agree with that, and the reason I didn't agree with it is because just of the circumstances. For me, it's totally circumstantial. If we were playing really good football up until now, not just talking about results, but if we were playing strong football and I felt confident enough, I would have no problem. Just put your bees out. It doesn't matter. Who cares? The fact that we've been flat for so long right now, we're coming off a draw against Sassuolo, we're coming off a loss to Lazio. For me, it was like, no, let's experiment, but let's try to push this game. Let's try and build. Let's try and get a little confidence going and try and pick things up. What side of the fence were you on for this particular match?
Honestly, I didn't mind that he did a squad rotation. I get what you're coming through. Like, it wasn't a great time to do it because we haven't been consistent. We haven't been consistent, but I think you got to start giving guys minutes. You look at the teams like Ajax and how they have their young players because they get the minutes. So it was right to bring in Demiral and Rugani.
I'm not arguing the rotation. What I'm arguing is, why is he not experimenting? And so I'm okay with the guys getting the minutes.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. And we've been on this one and we go back and forth, but just for shits and giggles, try Pjanic as a trequartista or move him to one of the side midfielders. You've got Rabiot, who's fully capable to just take that holding role, and it's a nothing game, just like everybody knows. The result did not matter. So for me, I'm totally fine with the rotation. The backline D, I didn't even care. That's fine. Demiral needs his minutes. He proved it in this match. Had a hell of a match, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Rugani, whatever. De Chilio one side, Danilo on the other, so that Cuadrado could play in the mid. Here's another thing. Cuadrado's played a lot of minutes too, but Bernardeschi, trequartista, again. I'm starting to lose my shit with that, Daniel. But anyways, I'm totally fine with the rotation. Rabiot needs his minutes. He's coming back. He's been out for, I think, a month. But just try something different. Experiment. Use this game to experiment. I think really what came down to it in his experiment in this one, we end up winning the match 2-0. Both goals, Bernardeschi comes off, Dybala comes in, and he got both assists. He was making great runs. We'll go through the match here. But,
sure.
Yeah, it's just experiment. And it's funny, oddly enough, the thing that looked the best in this ended up being what Sarri continues to say we cannot see. But we're going to get to that a little later. So, as far as the rotation, I agree with you. I was totally fine with the guys going in there and getting their minutes. I'm just needing a little more experimental because the Bernardeschi thing as trequartista is dead. Can we agree on that?
Oh yeah,
It's dead.
I don't. Is this becoming like a Kadira thing, or
It's
with
crazy,
Allegri,
man.
or
So, and everybody saw the post today. 66 minutes, 0 key passes from Berna, and about 14 dispossessions or something like that. I don't know. It's brutal. But let's get to this match. We got 5 minutes in. Berna actually makes a good run, but you know, the
Yeah,
vision's just.
Quadrado didn't find them. I saw that too. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He made a beautiful cut,
I
and I
know,
was like, "Just give him the ball over the
and
top," and he didn't see it.
and funny enough, Bernardeschi started that run from in the midfield, not in the
Yeah,
typical, because he had dropped deep. He made that run, and I'm like, I'm telling you, if we want to attack from those side midfield positions, I think he's going to be good there. But it was a great run, and unlucky for him, especially with all the discussion that's been around him. But he doesn't get fed the ball from Quadrado because he couldn't even get it out of his feet. And when he did, he still had an opportunity, but the vision's just not there. But so, yeah, that was just frustrating. But 10 minutes in, great ball from Danilo through to Higuain. He plays it across just out of reach of Ronaldo. I would have been fine if Higuain had to go there, but honestly, he put it across. It would have been a tap, and he just put it a little too hard, a little too much pace on it.
yeah. We had a lot of that. We had a lot of that where we were getting, we were pushing them across the flanks or coming around them and trying to, and really, a lot of those tap-ins that were missed or a little bit that we weren't clinical. Like that. That's a big story in this game. Is
that's a story
I find it was a solid. It was actually a solid game.
That's a story
Like
that's
if you
been
look at it
chasing
with the
us
guys
for 2 years, man. Is conversion rate.
Well, yeah.
But
Yeah,
actually,
it was
this
crazy.
game, I don't even know if I'd say we were solid. The first half was pretty lame. Other than the first, again,
Well-
we seem to be solid and good for about 15, 20-minute spurts, and that's about it. And then this match, it was like start strong, looked good, middle flat, and then 65th minute down when Dybala enters the game, strong again. It's funny, man. It's just that's the way we are. We're just
Well,
and,
I
and the
think
middle the middle portion of this game was actually like really, really sloppy. But we expected that at the back with those four guys. Like I expected it to be a little sloppy. We had a lot of just ugly scenarios at the back that could have ended up bad. They didn't. But anyways, let's keep going this game. After that opportunity, Diaby comes back and puts a rocket right outside, hits the outside of the post, like immediately after that missed opportunity. In the 20th, we have a couple good attempts. One from Ronaldo just goes wide. Quadrado, I like the positivity, but his wasn't as good an opportunity. But the pace that we were playing with and moving the ball in that first 20, 25 minutes I was liking it. We looked good. A little bit scrambly at the back. We talked about it, but Demiral was highly engaged, and he actually looked fantastic. We keep going. 22nd minute, Buffon with a great save. Everybody wants to yell about him and hang him up after the goal against Sassuolo.
After one game, and I couldn't believe what everyone was on about. There was a lot of defensive mistakes on some of those plays, and you're just like, okay, the guy's handcuffed, he gets chipped. Like there's not much you can do in that situation. But
the second one,
I don't know if you noticed when he
the second one he should have stopped. Let's not talk about that first one because it was nice to stop. The second one, Buffon fucked up. But
no, he should have saved it. But whatever, it's a mistake.
It's okay.
Right?
It's not that. That's not the reason that game ended that way. It was just again.
But the ball from De Ligt and then
performances that we've been playing for a while. But anyways, makes a great stop in this one at the 22nd minute. 35th minute, great turn from Higuain, blasted I think to the very top row of that stadium. Just crazy. Gotta hone it in a little bit better there. But again, 25 minutes, and after that, the tempo just slowed down drastically. I noticed that. But just before the half, Demiral making a huge defensive play as the marking just disappeared and Rugani got drugged way out left. Lack of communication expected because those guys are just not familiar and haven't been getting minutes like you've been saying. So expected, honestly. But Demiral, great tackle.
He was making good tackles, and I think the more experience he gets, he's going to get more accustomed to playing regularly, and like
Oh, dude,
sometimes he was like, you could, the ref wasn't extremely harsh this game, so
yeah.
like sometimes he got a little bit excited, you could tell, to
Demerol
get in there,
he had a
but he
great
was
first
making some
half.
great charges.
Sarri's got to be now. That's got to prove to him he can't be scared to play this guy and start offering Bonucci the rest that he's going to require coming down crunch time,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, you gotta start rotating those guys in. Even Rugani looked pretty solid. Like you said, there was 3-4. I would say 3-4 like shaky moments, but again, they haven't played in a while, and like I've said last year, you got to start giving guys minutes, or they're not
But
going to be fresh when they
the
come
difference
on.
between Rugani and Demerol is just like staggering though when you watch
Oh,
those
it
two.
is.
It's
It
crazy.
is.
But Rugani
But
was
I mean, you got to give him a solid, right? Like
Rugani
build
was
the
okay. He's
confidence.
still too shaky for me, my preference. But Demerol, man, I'm telling you, if anything comes to fruition as far as a sale goes with this guy, I would personally be pretty pissed off.
Well, I won't be surprised.
And that's
I
just
won't be surprised with this
that's
club,
just a
but
whole nother ball game I'm not going to get into right now. But yeah, again, we had nice ball movement. It only lasts around 20-25 minutes again. But again, Cuadrado in a role he hasn't played this season. So, he's played it before, but just this season he's used to the wing. And you could tell sequences in there where he was probably used to the one guy on him and he got closed down and just he's not used to it, right? So, but he got a little bit better as the game went on, got used to it. The Berna experiment, 49th minute, he actually made a great run. The ball was rewarded. He just didn't see, apparently, Cristiano Ronaldo on the far left and decided to eat it, and nothing came of it. And it's just one of those things. You actually see him looking at Cristiano after, like, I couldn't see, and it's... I don't even know, man.
something needs to go right for this guy.
Oh, and it's funny because Rav posted and said, there was a play in there. Berna needs a goal. Like, he needs a.
Oh, he does.
And I
that's-
said, sadly, I don't even think it would change anything. He had a run of goals early in the year with us and Azzurri. It changed nothing. He simply is just not meant. He's just not meant for that role. Like, it's crazy.
No,
to me.
but I think you know what he means by that point. Like the
No,
guy
of
needs a
course
little
I
bit
know
of
what it means,
a
but
little
I
bit
know
of a
it's not gonna
confidence
change
boost,
anything.
right? No, it won't. Like at the end of the day, it's similar to, let's say, when Dybala scored last year. Did it really make that much of a difference? No, because he was played, I would say, out of position.
Exactly. So it's just not going to make any difference. And if anything, for a kid that needs confidence, is killing him by putting him in a scenario where he does not succeed.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. But immediately after that one, Berna actually does slot one through to Ronnie, but of course it was always going to be offside. Because Berna's not going to get an assist. This is just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Keep compounding.
But again, just a couple flashes of some quicker play and chances generate. Higuain was getting in behind, and actually he put a dangerous low cross in. It got cleared away, but Higuain just makes these great runs, man. He's just... And this is why we get into the 65th minute. Dybala comes on for Bernardeschi, okay? And we have it. We have the three that we can have together.
The
Okay.
triumvirate.
So, but now, all of a sudden, there's good overlaps from the wing. There's three guys the defense has to keep track of, and Dybala's getting like so much movement. Higuain keeps his movement going. It actually frees up space for Ronnie. It makes too much sense. It just makes too much sense to play all these three guys. That's why Juve doesn't want to do it. That's why Sarri doesn't want to do it. It's crazy to me. 74th minute, Pjanic with a great ball over the top after a great run by Dybala. This is one of the things I was talking about, is when we play certain guys and we've lacked penetrating runs for so long, and Bernardeschi, I think if he's used properly, he's got the pace. Eric and I talked about it on that pop-up podcast. You have guys like Costa that'll kill you with pace. You got guys like Berna. We're just not playing to their strengths when we ask them to be that possession guy, right? And if Pjanic is this guy that we're expecting to make these setups and stuff, we we should look at utilizing them better. But Dybala, just spot on, makes a great run. Pjanic, great ball over the top, and then Dybala spots CR for an easy tap in. Like, that's money. That's the way we got to play. Like, it's just, you don't see that for so much of our game. So much of our game over this past month, I've been telling people, is so in your face, like on the floor. What you see is what you get. It's a grind, man, and that's got to kill players. Playing this, more freestyle where guys are moving around, it's actually a hell of a lot easier. And when you have 3 guys that can make those runs and generate that space, it becomes easier for guys like Pjanic, guys like Rabiot, guys in the middle, even Cuadrado. But Danilo, those runs Higuain was making was getting him out of trouble where he had nowhere to go. They actually had pressed where he couldn't go back to our D, and he couldn't go into Pjanic, but Higuain saving him with these great runs, and he can lob him over the top, over the side there. And that's why I just think when we have those 3 out there, it makes it easier for everybody that's on the pitch. And that stood out to me the most, even in this nothing game, but there's an experiment. Whether or not Sarri's going to go to it, who knows? But
yeah, that's a good question.
And the thing is, and we'll finish up with this one because honestly, there's not much left. Higuain, Dybala continue to link up. Again, great run from Higuain. Danilo hits him. Higuain drops it for Dybala. Dybala sucks in 2 defenders, slots it over to Higuain, who finishes it. There you go, 2-0. Dybala, 2 assists. Not much to take from this match because honestly, like, it was a nothing match, but I think it was good for us to see the Dybala, Ronaldo, Higuain again, get them going. But I think for us that's got to be our 1A. It has to. You see other teams going with their 3 guns. Why can't we? And I know because of the depth and what you're thinking, but it's who's going to be that impact sub, right, Daniel?
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of why he hasn't really tested it. I mean, Douglas Costa isn't back yet, so he hasn't really been healthy. So I think maybe that's why he was hesitant to use that. But I think it was good. Like they had enough time, about 30 minutes or so, to play. I think we learned a lot from this game. I think it was more. I think it was more than just like a one-off game. Like you said, like we saw how they could play. Not only when you have those, that's an extra guy that the other team has to worry about. So on that goal that you mentioned where Pjanic puts it over on the run that Dybala made, Pjanic could come up further because he's pushing the line back. So it gives more space for Pjanic to work. And I think that's why I don't like to see Pjanic in that trequartista or attacking mid role, is because he's really good. When he's on, he's really good at picking out those passes and those runs. And I think having him back. And if you notice, the midfield was playing a diamond pretty much the whole match. And the passing was pretty solid. Again, some guys are unfamiliar with their positions, or maybe not having played there, or not having that many minutes. But did you know? I don't know if you noticed this during the match, but did Ronaldo seem like is he like pissed off all game? I don't know if you noticed that. Like, he just seems like he's off.
Well, that's not this game, man. That's not this game. This has been going for a while. His attitude and his demeanor, and I've said it on the pod a while ago, is completely different. It's like night and day. It's the honeymoon's over. I don't know what his deal is.
Just like even on the goal, like he seemed like even like he tapped it in, and I don't know if he was just like, okay, don't celebrate, or
maybe it's like he was pissed off. Maybe it's all the guys there that keep running onto the damn pitch to like friggin' hug him and get pictures. Like, that was the craziest thing. 3 times? Figure it out. Anyways, I don't want to dive into that whole thing because that's a whole nother can of worms, but we know there's something there. Like, something's off. Obviously, like, we all know the backstory about injury and stuff like that. But yeah, he doesn't seem himself. But this game, you talk about we learned things. I want to know, what did we learn in this particular match? For me, we learned, if I'm sorry right now, I'm not hammering down on the 4-3-1-2. If I am, my 1A team consists of Dybala, Higuain, and Ronaldo at the top. Okay, you have other big guns. All these other giants are not scared to go with their top 3 weapons in crucial matches. You know what? I get it. You want to think about impact subs, but that's why think about your personnel. And this is why I talk about the whole thing. And we get into arguments about sympathy for Sarri and the depth and stuff like that. If I'm Sarri, I think 1A, this is my 1A, 4-3-1-2. These are the guys. That's it for top guns. If I'm going to look at making a sub, I'm going to alter the formation. I'm going to have my second lineup. And it's going to be not a 4-3-1-2 because Bernardeschi is incapable in that role. These are another reason why. You want to talk about you don't think Pjanic will succeed in an attacking mid-type role, but he did come to us that after a very, very strong season. I understand his abilities from further back, but I'm also highly aware of his abilities when he was higher up. I'm just under the belief that if you're going to try Bernardeschi, who has not succeeded in trequartista this many times, why can't we see Pjanic in a different position just once? Even once, just to see. That's the part that gets me. And that's why I get fired up, because I'm just like, if you're going to shove something that doesn't work, that we can all see, down my throat 50 times, why can't you just mix it up and experiment and just try this there? And the thing with him is, even the Demiral thing, it's just like, don't be so scared. And I talked about it, on the Pop-Up podcast. I talked about a couple podcasts ago as well. It's just, there comes time you just got to have faith in the guys you have. And just show some faith. Give them the minutes, but reward the guys that deserve it. You talked about it with Demiral now.
Yeah. I think he didn't really have good experiences, right? Like you look at, I know you guys talked about Chelsea's experience at Chelsea and Napoli. I mean, there wasn't really anyone he could rely on for the most part. Or he didn't want to, right?
I'm not even talking about Chelsea. Right now, I'm talking about Juve.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, he's shaped by what experiences he's had in the past, correct? So, I mean, he's probably surprised at how much depth we actually have. So, I think it just needs to come together. I think he's seen good things. And obviously, I hope the fans don't expect that he's going to use Higuain, Dybala, and Ronaldo like every game now until the end of the season, because that's definitely not what we need. Like you said, you need a 1B.
No, but this is what I'm taught. This is why I just said he needs to work on that secondary formation when he does use those other guys.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just being so damn stubborn that it's actually hurting him.
And when there's, like I said, there's time for us to see, right? Like, we'll see what happens in the next game. There's a game against Udinese. I think that it should be easily winnable, and he should be doing kind of the same thing. He should be seeing what players, and maybe
he's got to do something because Pjanic is suspended, so is Cuadrado. He's not going to have those options.
And the injuries we have, right? Still.
Well, yeah,
still
J Medical is actually J Hotel.
Tell me about, man. Like, honestly, I'm starting to rethink these free transfers. Like, it's the amount of money we're paying players, and you got to do your research. Like, that's just unacceptable to bring guys in and then like have a shortened bench because they're just not ready. Like, Rabiot didn't play for a long time. It showed a couple days ago. So yesterday, excuse me. But and Ramsey, we haven't really seen his full. We've seen like sparks, but when he's not fit, like, it also it hampers what you can.
This is the thing, though. We've seen sparks, like we've seen flashes here and there of everyone. The only time we don't see flashes and we see good stuff is honestly Higuain, Dybala, Ronaldo on the pitch. Sarri talks about we need to put Ronaldo in the best opportunity to succeed. Okay? But again, you want to put him in the best opportunity to succeed, but you want to do it by continuing to do something that does not help him, which again, like, it's the lineups, it's the guys in the positions that he's playing, and that doesn't do him any favors. Obviously, when he plays with guys like Dybala, Higuain, the creativity's there. It's fluid. It makes sense. That's the thing, man. I think Sarri's just, I don't know if he's overthinking or what, but like the part about it that bugs me is when we think back to last season, this is the part that gets me. And we talked about it also before, but we had signs of things that would work throughout last season, and we never went back to them again. And I'm starting to get kind of the same feeling around this club, and I want to get your thoughts on it here when I'm done kind of explaining, but I'm starting to get this feeling that when we get the signs, when we see what we need to be doing, obviously Sarri does not go back to it. He goes back to his, bread and butter for alignment, positions, players. But I'm starting to get that same feeling where last year, how late into the season was it where we didn't even know our best 11? We didn't know our best alignment. Like, I'm starting to get that same feel. It's almost like deja vu, man. Honestly,
I think this is like, so the difference is Sarri is sticking with essentially the same players, whereas Allegri was like rotating, like he was keeping a solid mid, but you really didn't know who was doing what. And if you want me to be like honest, I honestly think as soon as, if let's say Ronaldo was hurt, I still don't believe it, but to keep the Ronaldo fans happy, we'll say he was hurt. I don't think he should be playing in these smaller games. You know what I mean? Like that's where you're going to see these different formations. Like they could have easily played a 4-3-3. Ronaldo not play yesterday, and put Bernardeschi on the wing, put Higuain as the up top, and then have Dybala on the left. Let's say, or try a whole bunch of stuff. Ronaldo right now, I think he's playing too much. If he's hurt, I don't know why he's playing. I think him and Sarri have a rift too. I think there is something tangible there that they're not getting along. Like you said, he looks off. So, and he's not playing. Like up until the 27th minute, he was running, and then he lost the energy. Second half, same thing. He kind of lost it. There was good once Dybala came on, it kind of picked up again, but I don't know what it is. I think he just needs to not play certain games. And then you're also given the opportunity to bring in other guys. And
I don't know, man. The thing I'm getting at is things, again, like last season, for me personally, don't seem to make much sense. It just doesn't seem to make sense. Like, all the things Sarri talks about what he wants to get out of the club, how he wants them to play, what he wants to accomplish. He gets the signs. He just is not following them. And that's the part that, for me, is starting to frustrate me about him. I'm nowhere near the point of firing the guy. Like, that talk.
Yeah, I don't get that. That's just
so,
like.
Yeah, let's get that cleared up right off the bat. I'm not, let's get rid of the guy already, okay, because that's ridiculous. But honestly, he's frustrating me in the fact that what we're doing, what he's saying he wants to do, he's kind of contradicting himself in what he's continuing to do. And that's the part that bugs me. That's the part that frustrates me. And you've talked about, you have sympathy for him, obviously because of the cards he's been dealt. And more specifically, in case anybody that interacts with Daniel on Twitter has been living under a rock, it's no surprise how he feels about. It's no surprise how he feels about our midfield. Okay, and after the Marquisio, Vidal, Pirlo days and Pogba, but here's the thing, okay, and this is where we started to kind of clash a bit. Okay, and it was the talk that, for me, I totally understand, and I'm not disagreeing that he couldn't have better players in the midfield. But for me, where I stand personally is, I also don't think he has it terribly bad. And honestly, my challenge to the people that say our midfield simply isn't good enough, what I want to ask all of you, and I guess if you're under that belief too, Daniel, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to just put you on the spot. I'm going to say, if that's the case, how come our best matches this particular season were with the midfield everybody wants the least? Pjanic, Khedira, and Matuidi. So far to this day, our best matches we've played were with that midfield. And everybody says, so, and another protection of Sarri is, well, he's missing his key cog, which is Douglas Costa. Again, our best matches, and we all know which ones they were. You look back to them. Douglas Costa not only wasn't a player in it, he wasn't even on the list. And we played our best systematic football where everything flowed, we had fluidity, and it made sense. So that's my challenge is I feel a little bit of empathy for him because of the cards he's been dealt, but we've all made that complaint for so long. And at the same time, he's shown us what he can do even with those guys. It's just somewhere along the lines, we've been flat for so long. And honestly, I think his faith in Bernardeschi is starting to have a huge issue with it and causing this problem. I'm just going to lay it out there like I've been saying. It's not just that, it's a lot of other things. But honestly, Bernardeschi has not rewarded him at all for the faith that Sarri's put in him. But I want to lay those out to you and those thoughts, and I want to get your take on, kind of how I feel on it.
Yeah, so the reason, like, again, I think we're like splitting, a lot of it is splitting hairs, and I think a lot of the things we're saying is kind of similar, maybe disagree on, again, certain things. The reason why I say I have empathy.
Stop trying to be diplomatic and just
No. But the reason why I have empathy for the guy is because let's say everyone got what they wanted and we had Guardiola right now. You know what the first thing we'd be saying? Well, he doesn't have the midfield that he wants, and we didn't go spend 300 or 400 million for the guy, so it's okay that we're kind of playing like garbage. At the end of the day, I'm not saying in general, like we've been beating on this drum for 4 years now that we haven't had a midfield. So it's nothing new that I'm coming up with. The only thing is at the beginning of the year, he had his favorites. He had Khedira on the pitch. He had Matuidi, and it worked. It was a cohesive unit. Everyone's bringing Liverpool as like an example of, okay, well, their midfield isn't, let's say, spectacular. They've also spent over 400 million to build that team, but anyways,
but that's all top heavy though. Let's be
serious. It is, but their midfield, they spent
But that's not a lot of money, man. You pull in the money they
is.
have on their midfield, and honestly, the guys that are making the bigger money don't even get a lot of the minutes in there. It's still those lesser guys that are playing a lot of the minutes for that team. But here's the thing. Said,
it's a cohesive unit.
Here's the thing.
That's what makes the difference.
Here's the thing. You plug and play anyone in that midfield, and it works because
they know their role.
Exactly. And
exactly. I agree.
Sorry, that's frustrating is that he's shown it with those guys that he can get done. It all comes down to system. We've, over this past month and a bit, our system has been non-existent other than about 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here. It's in and out, and it's way too sporadic. And one of the things that I've said for quite some time on this pod, now early in the season, and I said it on the pop-up podcast where everybody kind of reacted to it and almost like a light went on. They're like, holy shit, that's exactly what this team reminds me of. But we're a team with a mentality that expects to win. That's been ingrained into them for years of the style that they've been playing, managing games. That's going to be Sarri's biggest challenge. 100%.
Right, but I think we've noticed that before, though. I don't think that's anything new.
We noticed it before, but the thing is now everybody's talking about the midfield and it's these guys aren't good enough. These guys are capable of it, and they've showed it. And they've showed it this season.
But Liverpool doesn't play the same way we do. Like, you got to remember, it's a different system.
Okay, no, but what you're
You know what I mean? Like
again,
if you look at the teams that we are supposedly supposed to compare to, right?
no, but Daniel, here's the thing though. You're just talking about the style that they play. We're not talking about the style. We're talking about a group of players
Right.
understanding their system. Sarri has been with us with enough time. These are all professionals, man. They play every single day. I find it hard to
I
believe
don't know
these
about
guys.
that.
I find it hard to believe these guys can't grasp the concept of what he's trying to accomplish. So much to the fact that we can't even put in through all this time one solid full 90 minutes.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, we've had spark, but no, my point is with the style of play is if you look at our midfield, right? Like, what team do you think that we're trying to emulate per se?
I don't
Like
care who we're
a
trying to
Barcelona.
emulate. Play good ball with what you have.
Right, but if Sarri's trying to implement this new style and you don't have a midfield like Barcelona, I'd say Napoli's midfield was better. I'd say a whole bunch of other. That's my point. Is if you're trying to have this style, I think what Sarri's realizing is this isn't. And like you said, he's the coach. He's got to make the changes. He's got to play. But you can't tell me that the way they've been playing, because we've had some sparks, that these guys now all of a sudden are going to be playing Barcelona like Barcelona. It's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now.
Well, no, this is not. That's nothing new, Daniel. I'm not.
No,
like
it's not new, but
this
that's
is
what I'm
the
saying.
this
That's
is the
the
thing
fact
that
you gotta realize.
this is the thing that people need to realize. There's finished product which nobody has asked Sarri of right now. Okay, so everybody's jumping to Sarri's defense. Nobody has talked about finished product, and that's the part I can't stress enough. I'm talking about progress.
No, right, the here and now.
Forward progress. And we have literally, we had forward progress for a bunch of matches in a row. And it still was nowhere near perfect. But it was good because we could see his ideas coming through. He would make his rotations. We would still see the progress coming through. Then all of a sudden, it's just like, boom, you've hit a bus. It's just like nothing, but and this is the part that's frustrating because we're all watching this.
So last game, you didn't see kind of a system that he was implementing
Against Lazio?
No. Sorry, that was a horrible game. This past game.
Okay, against Bayern, I did see some. And here's the thing.
You could see the triangulation.
Here's the thing, though.
The midfielders were pressing quickly.
But here's the thing, though. And again, I talked to it earlier. About 20 minutes at the start and about 15, 20 at the end. And at the end, Dybala was key on that.
Right, but you got to remember though, like Bayer had it like at the time the game started, there was only two teams that had a chance to get in, right, and Bayer or Atletico. So that's the reason they're pushing. I think the pace of the game didn't need to be frenetic and we didn't need to push. The passing I thought was solid, barring obviously.
Here's one thing I'll tell you I learned about that game against Bayern, and nobody's talking about, but everybody's actually shitting on the guy, which blows me away. Rabiot actually played a good game.
Yeah, I mean, he hadn't played for a while. Like, what do you expect? I don't know what you expect from a guy who hasn't been fit.
Here's the biggest thing too. I challenge everybody.
Like, there's too many expectations of a guy's gonna walk on the field. Like,
no, forget expectation. Like, here's the thing. For 5 games, our left side has been dead. Completely dead. And everybody could see it. All our play was up the right. There was nothing going on for that fullback that was on the left side. Rabiot had the stability there. He drew so many fouls. His touch was good. I don't know what people want. He hasn't played in a month.
Oh, exactly.
But
it was decent.
Rabiot did great. When he didn't look so much great was when he was pushing forward. And again, we go back to...
Oh, that'll come with time.
Experimenting. I want to see Rabiot in that holding role. Let's just move Pjanic to that left. Let's just try it. Just try it. If anything, too, like we talked about on the pop-up podcast, we can play with 2 defensive midfielders and create that triangle and push Pjanic at the top of it almost into a 4-2-3-1. Like, there's things there, and that's the part that like bothers me is Sarri saw glimpses of something that works strongly, and now it's getting to a point where he's going to live or die by that. You know what I mean? And that's the part that's kind of frustrating. And we talked about it last season. We were on the same page when we got to a point where it was later on in the season and we felt that Allegri had not tried enough things.
Well, there wasn't any progress, is how I saw it. It really was just... But
it was all player rotation, but there was no substance. There was nothing that he was actually trying that was different as far as where your offense is going to come from, like the creation. It was literally all the same. He was just changing where the players were and who the players were and what role, but it did nothing. And Sarri, I think, is going to live or die by this 4-3-1-2, not have a backup, and who knows what's going to happen, man. I don't know. But what I find funny is some people that are saying... the only reason people are upset right now with Sarri is because Merida is actually ahead. If we were 5 points up, nobody would even care. For me, that's a load of crap. I mean, everyone knows what we want to do and what the club's expectations are. We just want to see them put the best foot forward and play good ball. I mean, honestly, if we were at the top, we were crushing last year in Serie A, and we were still pissed off because we were grinding wins we've got a payroll 4 times these teams, and we look the worst of the teams even after a victory, right?
Well, exactly.
And that's frustrating to me, man. Like,
well, it's just, it's kind of, we had to expect this though. I mean, we were going so far. It's kind of like now we have a challenge. That's kind of the one thing we let Merda take Conte, who we know can do. Like, I mean, you got to give the guy credit. I know everyone's been shitting on Merda because they got knocked out, but I mean, they're going to give us a push. And again, we have like you said, we have the quality.
Here's the thing with Conte. Everybody wants to talk about him implementing his system immediately. Well, first of all, it's a pretty goddamn basic system.
No, it is. It's not. Well, I mean, a lot of football is like, let's be real.
No. Let's be realistic here. There's complex systems, and then there's like Conte is a motivator. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he's more so a motivator than he is a tactical coach by any means. And it's he's been exposed, and there's no question there.
He's pretty stubborn with his formations as well.
He puts the same thing out there. He gets his guys. He's always got his big target guy, and then he's got his quicker guy that plays off of him, whatnot. And he's got his midfield stacked, and he's got his 3 center backs. Like that, it's as clear as it is. But what he does is prepare these guys for war each and every match. Like even some of the matches where people want to talk, they want to throw shade at them for losing and stuff like that. Obviously, they got bounced, whatever, but they've actually played good ball, and I will say that.
Well, I still think we're missing that. There's no one kind of in the dressing room to kind of like get everyone off their ass and
bite your tongue, man. Pinsolio, come on, get out of here. Get out of here.
I don't know. I mean, he's a great support guy. I like how passionate he is. I find it. I notice when you look at when Buffon, he's very vocal. Where Tech isn't really. I wouldn't say as. I don't know if he's a different kind of personality.
Man. Tech's solid.
He's a solid keeper.
Tech's solid. I mean, honely, I don't think
I think it's a different style.
I don't think leadership's an issue by any means.
No, really?
No, not at all. Chiellini's still always around this club. He can be hurt. He can be in a full body cast. That guy's in and around that team all the time.
I get that, but there's no one who's really fractious that'll tell a guy, if you think that Bernardeschi's going to have the run he has now if Conte was in the dressing room, just theoretically, I don't think so. I think you would have put him up against the wall after one performance.
So then you're in agreement that Sarri's shitting the bed on that.
No, hey, I'm not saying I've never said that Sorry is perfect. I hope that I get
Well,
that
this is
across.
why I have a tough time having sympathy for a guy that's blowing my mind right now with what he's putting forth. And that's all
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to get at.
we've had a lot of. We haven't been playing with a full squad. Like, there's been a lot of injuries where he's had to throw guys around. Like, we can't just ignore the fact that Douglas Costa's played barely any minutes. Ramsey, we haven't been able to utilize him. Rabiot hasn't been fit. Like, that makes a big difference. When you can have these guys, like, if he was playing like this and we were full strength from the beginning of the season, I'd say okay. Now this guy's
Here's the
really.
thing though, Dan. When those guys get in the game, we still play this flat football that we have. That's my point. Is that even when these guys that they want to throw out, like, oh, it's these players. He hasn't had these guys. He's had these injuries. It's like it hasn't changed when those guys are in the lineup. Like Costa is a safety net, man. He was
Yeah.
Allegri's safety net. He's Sarri's safety net right now. And the guy, like, that's perfect because when the guy's on and he gets the ball, he can beat anybody. But he's literally been a safety net. And if anything, he hides, these shortcomings for coaches. But we can't bank on that. It's got to come down
No,
to
he's not going to always score that goal against Locomotive. Like,
he's not even
that's
going to stay healthy enough to be
well,
there in crunch time. He can't
well,
even come.
that's a squad thing. I
He
don't
can't
know.
even
We've
come on
had
for a
this.
20-minute cameo before he's hurt, man.
I don't
So
know. I don't know. I think there needs to be another revamp this season at the end of the
this
season.
this injury thing, like I get it,
It's
but
ridiculous.
again, it's the meat, man. It's the meat that Sarri's not. So injuries, I get it. That takes those guys out of it, but systematically, what he's talking about doing, he's not getting, and he's not changing anything to get there. And it's just for me, it's crazy, man. It's frustrating,
So
but.
then, so I got a question for you then. Is it maybe we don't like the way that maybe we don't like this way that he's trying to implement?
No,
Maybe maybe
I'm all for everything Sarri said that he wants to do and how we play. And you know what? When we do it, that's the way we need to play. We
right.
have to play like we've talked about this many times, and it's clear as day when you watch the matches. When we slow it down and we play everything is just in front, the defenses are set, we have nowhere to go. We have nothing to do. There's no creation, and the guys have to fight so hard for every inch that it's draining. We play so drained. We kill our own players. We make it harder for our own guys. When we play the way he says he wants to, which is the quick ball movement, the pace, and we saw it in flashes against Bayer this last recent match. When we play with that tempo, that speed, it makes it easier for everybody else. It's just like when we want to hang on to the ball and play this possession style thing and we want to win all these 1v1s just to create chances, that's when we shoot ourselves in the foot. And we're playing, it's too hard, right? And the part for me that gets it is just like I'm all for what he's trying to do. I'm not against it by any means. If it's a matter of trying to become an offensive foot on the throttle team, I think we need to be that team.
Just
And
curious.
and the reason is too, we're not as strong as we were at the back as we used to be.
No,
So
that's a an obvious.
well,
You
and
could
we
you could
can't.
tell there's a huge difference.
So we can't accept wave after wave. We need to be the aggressors. That's when we're at our best.
No, I think he needs to modify that. I think he can't. He's got to have a proper defensive phase coming back. Because if you look, he tries to get high pressure from the mid to win the ball back. He did it at Napoli, and I saw it last game clearly. You try and get the two mids or an attacker on the guy, on the player with the ball on the other team. So I don't know if we're just not used to it. That could be another thing is we went from the Allegri way where we sat back for I don't know how many games and just let quality win us games or tie games, and then just sit on leads and whatnot. Whereas I think maybe is this a wake up call that we need to be a lot more on. Maybe they're just not fit. They're just not ready. We're not ready enough. Ready for this style.
Oh man, I don't know. I just
Because if I'm guessing he wants for 90 minutes for us to go at it.
if you're a coach and you're trying to implement a system and you want press and there's guys that just aren't doing it or they're not capable, like move on, figure it out. Like I don't know, man. Like it's just
Right,
at
so-
the end of the day,
So you want Sarri to change it based on basically a pragmatic approach, like an Allegri approach.
But this is the thing, though. It's been long enough where, and this is just again my personal opinion.
But has it?
It's been long enough where more of it should come through than just 15 minutes. And actually, there's some matches during this month and a half where it didn't come through for the full 90.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree with that.
So let's be serious here. If I'm a coach and like, I don't know, man, I'd be pulling my hair out if it's honestly we're in December now, mid-December, and I'm getting 15 minutes of what I'm asking for here and there. I'd start making some changes. Like I'd start trying to figure something out. And this is again just goes back to the same thing. And everybody's talked about it. Everybody's put their posts up. We can all see it. Like we can see the things that he needs to be going to, he needs to be doing. But again, this is the frustration. I'm getting flashbacks of last season. It's a bad feeling where it's just like, why are we backing off from what we need to be doing, you know? And we talked about the forwards having a backup sub, but like, don't live or die by this 4-3-1-2. Have your alternate formation for when you do have to sub those guys in. Like, I don't know, man. To me, it just seemed crazy that we went into a game against Lazio, who's red hot, and played Bernardeschi as Trequartista in that game. Like, it's just like, that was the biggest waste to me. It's just like, why are we doing... Like, it's just like, you keep waiting and waiting and waiting when there hasn't even been enough substance there to count on it. You know what I mean? Because you have the people that argue, well, you got to show faith so that you could pick his confidence out. Man, I don't really know. I think it's beyond that point. I think it's been killed to death that we're not at a point where he needs a pick-me-up. I think he needs a, like, you're not going back to this role. Like, it's just not for you type thing. But, oh, man, I'm just so pissed about that. Like, it's driving me crazy. But we got to move on, man. I can't do it. Sorry, basically, like, for me, I'm not on the edge where everybody, like, people want to jump off a cliff with this guy. I'm not there. I don't think it... That's way too extreme.
I didn't hear it with Allegri, and I don't know why we're hearing it now with a new coach, new style. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, but for me, it's like, I'm not sorry out, but I'm definitely...
He's got some working points.
There's frustrations there that I think are justified, personally. We'll see what happens.
I agree with you on that point. He's got to improve. He's got to improve. We're in second place.
He's got Udinese this weekend. We've got no Pjanic, no Cuadrado. He's going to have to get some rotations. Maybe this could be one where he does go back to Rabiot and maybe puts him in that holding spot. I'd expect to see Emre Can out there and probably Matuidi. That would probably be my pick for what we're going to get in the midfield. It is what it is, man. Like, you've got those two guys suspended. I mean, what are you really ultimately going to do? I don't expect Dybala, Higuain, and Ronaldo, and why would you against Udinese? No. It's unnecessary. But maybe go 4-3-3 and start working on that alternate formation.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Just test it out.
Yeah.
Now it's up to him, right? We'll see what happens. I mean, really, we can discuss all we want, and he's gonna if he's stubborn enough, then we'll see what happens if he's gonna get retained at the end of the season. But
yeah, well,
I think what that loss does though is it kind of puts the gas, turns up the heat, because he was asked a lot about, and he kind of got a little fired up in the pre-match of the Champions League on the Monday or Tuesday, I believe, when he did the interview. So we'll see what happens. We can only hope for the best, right? I mean,
yeah.
You've got at the end of the day, he's got to tell the players what to do, and then the players have to go perform. And if it's not good enough, then we'll be listening to your podcast.
Unreal, man, unreal. Let's
You know what I mean? Like we could only do so much.
Let's get on to a couple other things before we wrap up here, because like, oh man, it just kills me, man. It kills me. It kills me how frustrated I am, and then it's just like there's fans that are beyond me frustrated, like going off the deep.
Just relax. Don't get to where I got last year. Don't get to where I got last year.
I just don't understand. It's just, again, it just gets back to making sense of it all, and it's just like, I don't know. He's got to back it. He's got to back up his talk. I guess that's the easiest way I can explain it. If you're talking about wanting to do something, your actions should back it up. And right now, like the way he's setting the team up doesn't make sense to me to back up what he's trying to do. That's all. That's the easiest way I can explain it. If people agree, that's great. If they don't, it's just my personal opinion. That's the only way I could explain it. But let's move on to. This seemed to draw a lot of reaction too, that it was just noted that Juve have begun the discussions for Halan, that kid, for 30 million, and trying to agree personal terms. And this caused a lot of turmoil because they must have all been followers of Daniel Lonegro, because the midfield, to me, it's like, I
don't have that many followers.
You had people on both sides of the fence, right? So you had people that were like, man, we need a midfield or whatever. But then you had people that were like, is this a smart buy? Because it keeps going. It's going to be, he's going to be worth like double, triple in no time. And for me, this move is not going to be what prevents us from boosting the midfield ultimately. You know what I mean? Like, this is not going to be a make or break move for our midfield, because honestly, we've got players that are on make or break seasons, but honestly, we've kind of handcuffed ourselves a bit with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I still don't think that this 30 mil, if it ends up being 30 mil, that's a steal, man. And honestly, he kind of fits the profile of something we could use, man, to be honest.
The thing is, though, is that was my first point of contention is it going to be 30 mil? I mean, it's nice to say that it's going to be 30 mil and it looks great. Oh, wow, that sounds really cheap. Look how many goals he's scoring in Champions League. I mean, at the end of the one season, I'm not completely convinced with if we could get him for 30 mil. I think that would. Well,
this is just
that
it.
would be awesome, right?
Let's not make everything so crazy. Everybody's just like, no, let's take it for what's in front of us. Because this is what people are...
Well, it's easy to look at that too, right? And then
but that's what everybody's complaining about, Daniel. It's right in front of us. 30 mil, they're agreeing personal terms. This is the part where people were saying, oh, no, we need midfielder. I'm like, okay, if this is in fact it, how could you be upset at that really ultimately? We just finished talking about how long we cannot play our best top three because there's nobody that could come off that could be a threat. Here's a kid that looks incredible. He's great pace, very strong, good finisher. We could use that, man, to be honest. And
in Germany,
just for taking what's in front of us, we could use that, man. We could use that.
Oh no, I think we could use a guy like that. I think what people worry about is that's the same thing that we've been worrying about for the last 4 years. And I mean, we can say it a million times. What the club does is one thing, and what we think is going to happen is another thing. So sure, it would be great that we could get him for 30 million. But
I don't see that as a bad buy, and I don't see that as preventing.
Do we trust this management enough to get the job done in the midfield? And to that, I could say I don't believe. What happens? What happens when the bigger clubs get in there and they start saying, okay, well, we'll give them 75, 80
That's
mil.
a different story, though. Again, you're going off the beaten path because it's just what was in front that everybody drew.
To be honest, I think that's more of a. You got to look at it in reality, right? Like you can't. Sure, we could say, what if we got him for this? At the end of the day, until we know.
But this is again, you're going off the beaten path because everybody reacted to that headline. Yeah. Nobody got into they didn't discuss bidding wars or anything like that, which obviously are probably going to happen. It was 30 million euro. Haaland, they're agreeing personal terms. That's it. And that's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about all of a sudden. Did I say spending 100 million on this kid is smart? No.
No, but I think, like, simply put, it's just they don't have faith in the management. And when you start bringing other players that don't help us in places that we need, that's the reaction you get. So
that's good business, though, man. Like, honestly, 30 million. If we're gonna squawk,
no. What I mean is, I'm just trying to kind of
no. I get what you're trying to do. You're
devil's
trying to
advocate
you're trying to defend them about the faith they have in the manager. But what I'm saying is, 30 mil euro. People are squawking because we're not gonna boost our midfield. That is good business if that were hypothetically the deal.
Right.
That's good business, man.
Well,
Instead, we get the freebies, that don't work out. But then these are the kind of deals we need to be making, man. And then I talked about it, and it's like the guy we talked about earlier seemed to complain that, oh, well, I got to do it with players from Cagliari and Sassuolo. I would have taken gladly either one of those guys. Yeah. I would have taken gladly. I would have taken either one of those guys, man.
Oh, you mean
in a heartbeat?
You're talking about Barella, right?
Sensi or Barella, I would take in a heartbeat.
I think Barella wasn't even a discussion. I think he had his eyes set on Inter, and that was it. Because Milan was also in the talks.
Ridiculous though. Though.
I think some situations you don't really have, like, if he wants to go there, right? He rejected pretty much everyone, right? So
this is ridiculous to miss out.
We have to start getting better.
This is ridiculous to start missing out on these guys, not even be in that discussion. You can't tell me if Juve went to him. Granted, he may have still picked Merda, whatever. But we were not even...
Did I say their actual name?
Not even in that friggin' discussion.
That's a sin.
What's that?
I think I actually said their name. I gotta say 5 Hail Marys.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. What's the matter with you?
Again... Too tired.
Anyways, the Haaland thing, I don't know, man. For me, if that were hypothetically what it would be, that's fine. We need that, man. We've all talked about it. Just the depth. Who's going to be that sub coming off? You can't count on Costa for health reasons. Bernardeschi, and then like it's just what. And
so that's whose jersey you got this year, right?
No, God no. And then we get Mario Mandzukic.
Fuck.
Okay. Mario Mandzukic now, apparently just a little post come out that he is rarely even seen in Turin anymore and probably has left the city a long time ago. I spent a little time earlier in the season talking about it and how I understand it and whatnot, but, and still we don't 100% know how it went down, how much of it is on his part towards the club, how much the club part towards him. But it's really, really shitty to see. It
is, because he was such a key part of our team. And, I feel like our team sure does a damn good job at devaluing our players and alienating players. It's getting ridiculous, honestly.
It's pretty...
What can you say?
It's gut-wrenching to watch because he was such a key guy and just the way he represented the Stripes. He was a warrior, man. He was a beast and everybody loved him, and it's hard not to get behind that guy.
If the Curva Sud supports you, that's a pretty good sign of what kind of a player you are.
I mean, at the same time, and here's the part I laugh about. I understood at the start of the year why. Like, sorry, may not, just because of the way he was talking, the style he wanted to play. And it's like now, after what I've seen for the past month and a half, I would take Mandzukic in there and get him in there. Because if we're going to look like...
He gives you a guy that's actually going to come back. Like, you look, everyone was talking about taking Dybala off in the Lazio game. They should have taken Ronaldo off because he wasn't even coming back to get a ball. And if you put a guy like Mandzukic in his position, he's going to fight for everything. He's going to come back.
That sub made me laugh. Like, I was just...
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
That whole thing, that whole game, like, I couldn't... Oh, my God, it was like... I don't even want to go back to that, but...
It needed to happen.
The Mandzukic thing, like, if we're going to play flat for over a month anyways, you're not going to defend not having him in there anyways, because at least the guy's got heart and Grite's going to friggin' give it everything he has. and maybe call out guys that are shit in the bed and get them to pick it up. Maybe. I don't know. But if it's going to be this flat and you're not going to go...
Or start something with Bonucci again.
We're not going to hit this... We're not going to hit this style that Sarri wants. Like, maybe you give Mandzukic a go, a run out, whatever. I don't know. But this is crazy. It's ugly to see. It's a shame.
Unfortunately, I don't see it happening. But
Matt, no.
I think they got to do something. I mean, look at what's happened in the past. So I don't see anything like that happen. The club needs to move on. They should have moved on. And they should have. I think they needed to really work hard to get that done. I mean, after De Ligt, what did they really do that was so pressing to not get this guy to a different club? I just don't see. If Sarri is telling you that, if you're hearing what Sarri's saying and you can see that he's not going to be a player in the system.
But this is why
why aren't you doing anything to move him?
This is why I said though. This is why I said you don't know.
Well, we don't. At the end of the day, we'll never know what.
Because here's the thing: we know he got a juiced contract and he got an extension, which I actually said I don't understand why they would do that, but they did it. And here's the thing: we don't know if there were deals that were done and he didn't agree terms on his end. We don't know that too, right? And that's why we say though it's just the scenario and looking at it from the outside that looks really bad because of who he has been for this club, right? But could it be both ways? Absolutely. I could easily see that. It just sucks. It just sucks because
you got to respect him too, right? Like if it's not the right situation and you were stupid enough to sign an extension, it's the player's got to fight for his, at the end of the day, we see what happened with Dybala.
No, but this is what I'm saying. If you don't know what the detail, here's the thing. Yeah. They've moved on. They've got a deal closed for him. Mario Mandzukic says no because of the amount of money he's making with us, which probably a lot of teams aren't going to match, which makes sense because why would you at his age?
Or he doesn't like the situation, right? Maybe he doesn't want to go to Qatar.
Exactly. So then does that change the amount of sympathy you have for a guy? Well, yeah, kinda.
Not really.
Yeah, kinda.
I don't, to be honest.
100%. If he chooses that I'd rather just get the money I'm getting here, even though I'm not guaranteed a spot and you guys have moved on from me, then it's kind of hard to have sympathy for a guy, to be honest. It sucks to see because it would have been nicer if it was just like both parties have agreed and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to finish my career here. Like, it is what it is, but...
No, but I don't change my sympathy for him because at the end of the day, that's his job is to worry about how much money he's making. Like again, if the club was stupid enough to sign the extension, that's on the club. That's not on the player. If he wants to sit and not play, that's also his choice. The reason why I brought up Dybala is exactly a guy who actually wanted to play and wanted to fight, and we wanted to dump him with whatever the highest. And again, we don't know the whole situation, right? How it all played out, but. I don't know, man. I don't have faith at all.
If a guy gets a juice contract and this extension, and the team, granted, I'm not saying that the team. Okay, sure, the team's stupid enough for offer. Yeah, I think so. But regardless of that, it does kind of change my sympathies for him because he's kind of made the bed he's laying in too. Because he could have been off, he could have been playing. If the team expressed to him. Yeah, we want to move you, and he says no to a deal and then doesn't end up being on our practice squad even or around the club. I mean, he's kind of decided that and he's okay with it, so then I don't actually feel bad. If he was led to believe, hey, we're trying to move you, and he's like, no, I don't want to move there, I want to be part of this team, and they're like, yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's fine, just stay. But then all of a sudden they push him off to the side, that's different. But if he's decided... No, I'm going to do it knowing that the team has fully moved on from him and this is probably what's going to happen. Well, then why should, it just sucks to see because of who he is, but it doesn't mean that we need to be feeling sorry for the guy if he's
No, I mean, you respect what he did and the situation is the situation. Wasn't there a U-turn? Wasn't it that he thought he was going to be in the plans?
I had never heard of him being in the plans like one day.
and then they said we're going to try and transfer him, and then they didn't want to transfer him, or
I've personally
again,
never heard of a U-turn on that thing. As far as I know, he was like never in Sarri's plans whatsoever.
so at the end of the day, it didn't. Again, it's all ifs and buts, and this happened. He said, she said. At the end of the day, we don't know. All you can do is respect the guy, respect his contract, and what happens happens. If we can get him out, in Jan, it's not going to change. At the end of the day, I hope it doesn't change the way you feel about what he did for the shirt, right? Like
I just said that doesn't change.
Right. So
it
at
has
the end of the
nothing
day,
to do with.
it's all speculation.
It has
right?
not. It's shitty to see because of who he is and what he's done for the Stripes. But what I'm saying is,
I got you.
My feeling sorry for him. I would take that paycheck for him and just not be around the club. That's it. But hey, let's wrap up with some good. Let's get your top 5 kits ever.
Top 5 kits. That's there's a lot of kits. I mean, so I think a lot of them are going to be they're going to have to be Kappa. So top 5. So 5. Let's go with the home of the Champions League winning team. I think that's a classic. Number 4, I'd have to go with the Nike Champions League final home jersey that we wore. I think that's one of the top ones. I think it was probably Nike's best kit. Number 3, I'd have to say, I believe it's 04-05, famous Del Piero Nike kit with the yellow numbers on the back. The Champions League had like the black cutout or the space on it where. So I thought that was a wicked. And then top 2, I think number 1 I'd have to go with the Champions League, the 95-96 final jersey. I mean, it's pretty iconic.
Oh yeah.
And number 2, trying to think, it's definitely not this year's home jersey.
Did you get one?
Oh yeah, I always get one. I'm an addict. I've got some of the ugliest jerseys.
I know, man. I know. Trust me, I know.
When people say you got to hand in your Juve card and all this nonsense, and I've been 41 years watching and blah blah blah, all this crap, and then you realize how much money you spent and how much time you spent with this club, and you really wonder why, just stupid people. But number two, I think we got to go the Ariston, another original. I think with the Scudetto on it, obviously.
Give me a goal that still stands out to you. It could be just recent, it could be old, it could just give me one like a goal that's just always like stayed with you.
So yeah, no, I think it's got to be Del Piero Bernabeu. That like it always comes to my mind. Yeah. It's just the standing ovation. What a crazy game! Those gold jerseys.
Do you remember where you were when that goal took place?
See, I can't remember if I was watching on a laptop or on TV, or I'm guessing it would have been on TV, but because I really hadn't got into the streams yet. But yeah, it was just it was crazy watching that and just like dismantling that team. Like you looked at the squad we came in with, and you're just like, I don't know how this is gonna go, and just the class, like
yeah. It's pretty unreal, man.
Even like Sissoko is playing like a man possessed that game. Like it was unbelievable. Like honestly,
that is unbelievable.
Like you were just like, how are we getting this? Like the potential out of these? Like
I know
it was crazy. Like you obviously have your class players, right? You had Del Piero, you had Trezeguet, but like
man, that's a game to recap for fans out there. Like you go. Just look at that opening and look at the lineup we went in there with and what ended up happening. And ADP was so fucking unreal. It was crazy. But
it's great. It's crazy.
Daniel, thank you so much for joining me, man. It's been a pleasure. I got a little fired up in this one, and I like it because you pushed me, you challenged me. I needed it. It's been a while.
It's all good.
Let's make sure it's not as long in between the next time you're on, man. I appreciate you coming out, and thank you for all the support, man. You've been there from the get-go. Appreciate it, man.
No, you've done a great job. You've connected a lot of UVA fans. You've given them the opportunity. Hopefully, you win that award for around Turin.
Man, if I get that, honestly, it's not my award, man. It's everybody, because this podcast is literally all you guys, everyone that's taken part of it since day one.
You've brought it together, right? It's easier said than done, right? So I think you've done a hell of a job, and I can't wait to be on many more of these, and
thanks, man.
Hopefully we'll be able to lift the big year trophy this year.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's the way that the big clubs are playing this year. Last year we didn't take advantage, and now I think we have to. We really have to.
Quick question before we go. Really quick question. I just want your reaction from the gut. Sarri's killing it in Champions League for us. We're second in Scudetto race, not so far back. Would you sacrifice it and not get 9 in a row for the Champions League?
Why do you keep asking me this question?
Because I want your damn answer.
Fuck the 9th. We'll get the Champions League. We got to get that trophy.
Oh.
Fuck it.
I would say let the Scudetto go only if Lazio takes it.
If you could sign that we're getting the Champions League trophy today, in that scenario, Champions League all the way.
There you go.
We got to get the monkey off the back.
I like it, man.
Let's be honest.
I like it. Thanks again. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you after Udinese, and I'll have another guest with me. Until then, as always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.